Okay, I think we can start. It's 4 p.m. Okay, it's supposed to be 3 p.m. We need to change our clock here in our lecture room. Okay, so a very good afternoon to everyone. And as Dean of the Faculty of English, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to the third edition of the seminar entitled Language of Empowerment, organized obviously by the Faculty of English. And this is a part of our celebration of the International Week for Equality and Inclusion. And I'm very excited, together with my wonderful two colleagues, Dr. Katarzyna Jankowiak and Dr. Benjamin Kłaniecki, that this year, the third edition, we're able to meet on site. This is really exciting. I am very honored and delighted also to welcome our distinguished guests who accepted our invitation to this year's opening. And first of all, my words of welcome go to Professor Katarzyna Pawelczyk, Vice Rector, AMU Vice Rector for Research. I'm always saying it, former Dean of the Faculty of English and also Head of the School of Languages and Literatures. As you know, Faculty of English is a part of the school. Welcome. Okay, I also welcome Ms. Anna Wawdysz, who is representing the Mayor of City, and she's in charge of academic cooperation and youth. Hello and welcome. I'm not sure whether Mr. Artur Bagdasaryan is with us. He's supposed to be, maybe he's late, but we'll be happy to have him as well. He's a member of our AMU Senate Committee for Communication and Social Responsibility, so maybe he will be joining us. And of course, I welcome all our presenters. Some of them are here, all our participants. Thank you for being with us. So as I already said, this is the third edition of the seminar Language of Empowerment. As in the previous years, through the talks and the discussions following the talks, we hope this year, we want to engage us in a constructive dialogue around issues related to the broadly understood and broadly defined relationship between language and empowerment. We also aim to raise awareness of the dangers of discrimination, and I mean the forms both very explicit but also very implicit ones, and contribute to the global ongoing dialogue on values such as acceptance and equality in accordance with the UNESCO proclamation from 1995. And I'd like to now quote the proclamation because it's very important. It's good to refresh our memory of it from time to time. So quote, "Tolerance is respect, acceptance and appreciation of the rich diversity of our world's cultures, our forms of expressions and ways of being human. It is fostered by knowledge, openness, communication, and freedom of thought, conscience, and belief. Tolerance is harmony in difference. It is not only a moral duty, it is also a political and legal requirement. Tolerance, the virtue that makes peace possible, contributes to the replacement of the culture of war by a culture of peace." And now I'd like to echo some of the words that were expressed during our 2020 inauguration of the series. So here it goes. The lectures presented in the Language of Empowerment series reveal the power of language to include people of various backgrounds and different identities and facilitate social inclusion and eventually, in the long run, social justice. They exemplify that we as speakers are agents, certainly constrained by social norms and expectations, but at the same time, we can contest these norms and by doing so, construct ourselves anew as more agentic and ultimately more liberated. And I think this is the power of language. And importantly, to empower ourselves and others, however, we need to use a more self-reflexive language, and I'm here referring to a concept by Baxter 2013, a sort of applied reflection. This applied reflection brings awareness as to what social realities or scenarios we are creating or constructing for ourselves and our interlocutors with our language use, yet not after the conversation, but while we're having it. Now, following the work of Tsedale Malakov from 2020, we'd also like to highlight that the idea of any kind of change, for example, in the organization, can only come from having uncomfortable discussions, however hard they will have to be. As Google's former longtime head and senior vice president of people operations, Laszlo Bloch, said in 2020 publication, quote, "The reality is that without support or training, nobody is completely fair and unbiased." So this year, the Language of Empowerment series will feature 5 45-minute lectures from Monday to Friday. The talks are Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are in English, and the talks on Thursday and Friday are in Polish. Our presenters during this edition will talk on topics and issues such as feminist empowerment, aging and empowerment, how language policies become tools for empowering marginalized language communities. I'm also very excited to say that this year we also hear from that is VUA Students Council, about their initiatives, and also we hear some reports on the projects run by the VUA students. So this is really, really exciting. These projects, among others, address and challenge issues around discrimination and stereotyping. Last but not least, on Friday, we'll tackle the topic of equality in business, and more specifically, we'll talk on women in leadership positions. We are most grateful to our presenters during this edition for their willingness to share their ideas and thoughts on issues around empowerment. So my co-organizers' words of appreciations go to Dr. Emma Watson from Manipal Center for Humanities, Manipal, India, so our first presenter today. I also thank Dr. Katarzyna Bronk-Bacon from the Faculty of English. My words of appreciations also go to Professor Tomasz Wicherkiewicz, who will be speaking on Wednesday from the Faculty of Modern Languages and Literatures, and of course that is WUA Student Council, and Ms. Dorota Zyskowska from Polska. She will be talking to us on Friday. Last but not least, I would like to thank from the bottom of my heart my two wonderful co-organizers, Dr. Katarzyna Jankowiak and Dr. Benjamin Kłaniecki, for their unfailing support and help, and of course, making this event possible. So thank you very, very much. Okay, and now it's time for our guests and not really guests, because when I think of Professor Katarzyna Dziubalska-Kołaczyk, guest doesn't really come to my mind. I don't know why I said that, but also thinking of Ms. Anna Wawdysz, who is a friend of our faculty. So we're happy to have you here. But so I'd like now ask Professor Katarzyna Dziubalska-Kołaczyk, Vice Rector for Research, to say a few words to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yasha, Madame Dean, and of course, I don't feel like a guest, I hope. Yeah, I will never feel like a guest, right? But a local here. Right, so in fact, I am empowered by Her Magnificence Rector of Adam Mickiewicz University, apart from my own empowerment to be here. She empowered me as well, right? Because I will be speaking also on her behalf, and since she values this event very much. So ladies and gentlemen, dear guest, that's another source of empowerment, because I've just heard that you've made this huge journey for our sake, which is great, right? Which is great, which is wonderful. So thank you so much. Right. So I would like to say a few words about several documents of Adam Mickiewicz University, which I represent at the moment, which are directly related to the issues of this seminar. In fact, I realized there's quite a lot of those documents, right? And also, when I finish this overview, I can then add language of empowerment seminar as yet another one, right? As yet another documentation which matters and which should be mentioned on such occasions. So the first document is, of course, the strategy of Adam Mickiewicz University, which we follow. It's a strategy for the years 2020-2030. And this document, in the section of the vision of the university, defines AMU as an institution that caters for the fulfillment of the professional and social needs of all groups of employees in the spirit of friendliness, loyalty, sense of stability and identification, and promotes activities conducive to equal treatment and to combating discrimination. So I think we have quite a statement fitting to the present context, already in the strategy, in the vision of the university statement of the strategy. The second document that comes to my mind is the so-called action plan that we have formulated under the requirements of European Charter for Researchers and the Code of Conduct for the Recruitment of Researchers. Thanks to this document, and in fact, thanks to the action plan and actually following the action plan, we have received as the university the so-called HR Excellence in Research Awards, Human Resources Excellence in Research Award, right? So this is now already the second round of our following the action plan, our second action plan. Now we are awaiting the visitation by the European Commission soon, right? So, but of course, in this action plan, among others, we introduce, for example, modern recruitment procedures, which are based on the principle of so-called OTMR, open, transparent, merit-based recruitment of researchers, which provide equal opportunities for all candidates and facilitate mobility, which leads to increased internationalization of scientific cooperation. So yet another guarantee. This time it's not only vision, but it's already a guarantee, right? That we actually do what we declare. Then the third document I want to mention, there are going to be only 4, so don't worry, is Equality and Anti-Discrimination Policy of Adam Mickiewicz University. This is a document which we did not have to draw which we did not have to discuss at the Senate and which we did not have to have at all as such, right? But still we do. It's not a welcome document in some circles. And this one details strategic actions leading to the implementation of equality and anti-discrimination policies at AMU, right? So it's a huge document which actually goes over all the issues that are relevant here. And finally, I want to mention the document which is in a way closest to my heart because I was much involved in its preparation, is the so-called Gender Equality Plan, which actually is a requirement of the European Commission, because if anybody from any university wants to apply for a project funded by a European Commission, then this particular institution needs to have a gender equality plan, right? So it's not only that we actually want to have it, but we actually need to have it, right? And the basic ideas of the Gender Equality Plan are equality and diversity. They provide the basis for inclusive policy in the spirit which is consistent with university's mission statement, which in short is, we have this catchphrase, by changing the present, we shape the future. The Gender Equality Plan, originating from an idea to support civil society, aims to educate and consolidate social attitudes that are based on respect for all people and non-discrimination against any person on the basis of their personal characteristics. The plan will be the basis for the implementation of activities at the university in 2025. It also has is a kind of small strategy towards all persons employed at the university. Increasing the level of equality and equity throughout the university community starts with the understanding of inequality and gradual elimination of imbalances. Therefore, the plan's priority is to raise awareness about the existing problems and then prevent them. And with those 2 words, understanding and raising awareness, I guess comes your seminar. And the role of language, because this is what we talk about, right? We are going to listen to, right? How to do it, right? And in particular, There is one objective in the gender equality plan, which has been largely formulated by a colleague sitting there, right, Agnieszka Kiełkiewicz-Janowiak, and it is promoting an inclusive organizational culture that supports equality and diversity, recommendations about language use. Right. And what we're about to do in concrete terms is preparing recommendations for the use of language at AMU that support gender equality, rewriting official documents, news, promotional materials about the university in terms of inclusive, non-discriminatory language. You might have noticed that it's already started, right? If you look at Życie Uniwersyteckie, for instance, right? And some part of information that we get, paying attention to using inclusive and non-discriminatory language in newly prepared materials, and disseminating knowledge about non-discriminatory language by organizing lectures, debates, and training sessions. And here we go. Right, here we go. So congratulations, of course, to all of us and to you on this. And yeah, let's do it. Thank you. And I'm getting this. I want this very much. Maybe so here.
We're rewarding our speakers, but don't worry.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks so much for, again, telling us how important these documents are. And we're very happy to be able to contribute in some way to really understanding what is discrimination about, and also the various forms it takes, very often not necessarily manifesting itself in a very explicit way. All right, thank you very much. And now it's time for Ms. Anna Wawdysz. As I said, she is Youth and Academic Cooperation Representative of the Mayor of Poznań. So we're delighted to have you here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. It's really an honor and a privilege for me to welcome you on behalf of the city of Poznań and our mayor, Mr. Jacek Jaśkowiak. We are very proud that for the third time, the Faculty of English is organizing such an event. And we appreciate that so many students and scholars and experts participate in this meeting. Language of empowerment is so important aspect of our daily life, and so important issue nowadays that actually no wonder that this faculty of English at Adam Mickiewicz University is organizing it, because research on languages is one of the most respected and recognized fields of study at the Adam Mickiewicz University. And the Faculty of English has received international recognition, and it's widely considered to be an excellent study destination. And talking about study destination, Poznań is a diverse and dynamic academic city, also thanks to you, to students. Do you know how many students live here in Poznań in general? No? Okay, so over 105,000 students live here from more than 100 of countries. And everyone has their own unique story to tell. And Poznań is open to everyone, and everyone is welcome here. I think it should be mentioned here that this year about 6 million people have entered Poland from Ukraine to flee the war. And we can be proud that Poland, including Poznań, has passed this difficult test and provided help and shelter to our Ukrainian friends. And the situation is in Ukraine shows how important these basic key values are, like humanity, altruism, acceptance, and equality, and also other priorities promoted by the university: education, diversity, openness, cooperation. It's just that all these values also help to build and maintain security and peace in the world. So simply as that. So thank you for being here, and I can say, and preparing this to create a better place for us and for future generation. And I wish you inspiring and passionate conversations. And I hope that this rich experience brought from the conference will pose some valuable contribution to your everyday work and also your personal development. Of course, I'd like to thank the conference organizers, and I keep my finger crossed for the conference, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. And also many thanks for your continued support. We really appreciate it. And I think it's okay. I always call you a friend of the Faculty of English. And I think that's how I feel. Okay, thank you very much. Now, before we move on to the main part of this day, which is the talk by Dr. Emma Watson, I'd like to thank you for your attention. I'd like to wish us a very inspiring and empowering week. Thank you.